The top story on ABC News Breakfast. The government may order a royal commission into further allegations of systemic abuse in the Defence Force. An independent review of the ADF lists more than 800 complaints dating back to the 1950s. The worst allegations involve recruits as young as 13.
The report obtained by the ABC says perpetrators could now even be in senior Defence Force management. The Defence Minister Stephen Smith told us here on News Breakfast he's not convinced a royal commission is the best way to address the problems.
I'm not yet persuaded that that's right. As I said last night, I haven't discounted a Royal Commission, but I'm not talking it up. You've got a range of issues here. A 50-year period, so how do you deal with allegations that go over that period? Do you really want to put individual complainants through such a process? So the
They
range
might be quite happy to.
Well, exactly, and some might not. So the range of processes include everything from potentially a compensation scheme to a reconciliation mechanism to further parliamentary or judicial inquiry, whether that's a Royal Commission or some more limited form.
Stephen Smith speaking to us earlier. Now, one of the lawyers who's been dealing with hundreds of abuse victims is Brian Briggs from the firm Slater & Gordon. He joins us now from Brisbane. Brian Briggs, good morning to you. Would anything short of a Royal Commission be a cop-out in your view?
I don't think anything short of it would be a cop-out. A Royal Commission is one avenue that is open to the government. My thoughts would be that the money would be better spent actually compensating the victims. In my opinion, they're the people who are the real story here. They're the heart of the story. I don't think money should be spent on lawyers and another delay and 2 more years and $50 to $100 million being invested in a Royal Commission when we have to go to the victims. These are the people that have come forward. There's hundreds of people who haven't come forward. You know, they're the people that should be compensated for what they've endured, and spending money on lawyers I don't think is the way to go.
But wouldn't at least some of your victims want an independent inquiry, a completely independent inquiry of both government and the ADF to get to the heart of the matter, and I suppose most importantly regarding a lot of them, get to the perpetrators of this abuse?
Yeah, that's probably right, Michael. A lot of the people that I've spoken to would like to see the perpetrators prosecuted or brought to justice for what they endured. Others wouldn't. A lot of people aren't in it for compensation. A lot of people are looking for an apology. They're looking for someone to say sorry for what they underwent. And so you've got various options open to you. As the Minister said, there's not a one size will fit all. I don't think a Royal Commission is the way to go because that's one avenue that's open, but yeah, sure, some people would like to see those perpetrators brought to justice.
The report revealed disturbingly that some of these alleged perpetrators could now be in senior ranks of the ADF. You have obviously a fairly deep knowledge of this. Are we talking about a small number here, dozens of people?
Well, I spoke to hundreds of people after the Four Corners story and when the inquiry was first announced. Lots and lots of people who didn't go to DLA Piper have named names, and there are senior members amongst those. I would think it'd be more than a few. I would say dozens is a possibility. As the Minister said, these are untested allegations, but the detail that I've seen suggests that there are definitely middle senior management in the Defence Forces who were perpetrators who are now higher up the chain of command.
You talked about a compensation set up as being preferable to all the time and money involved in a Royal Commission. How would that work? Because I believe that if you're served in the Defence Force before 1988 or 89, you aren't eligible to be compensated for pain and suffering.
That's right. There's a disparity here. There is an injustice. There is an injustice between people who are pre-1989 victims and those post-1989. After 1989, there is mechanisms, there's schemes in place. The legislation allows for compensation for pain and suffering for the psychological injuries. Pre-1989, there is no setup. These people are not entitled to anything. That's an injustice that I'm passionate about. That's an injustice that has to be corrected. Now, the $10 million that I've seen so far from Senate estimates spent on this inquiry to date would have compensated 500 people if you worked on, say, the same sort of level for the minimum abuse that is accepted in the later legislation. So 500 victims would have been compensated, and they've said 775 plausible complaints. So you're talking almost 3/4 of those people would have been compensated for the money that's been invested on lawyers and inquiries. And this is not the first inquiry.
Yeah, of course. Now, and finally, Brian Briggs, you raised the option of an apology that would be happily received by at least some of your victims. How, in your view, should that apology be played out?
It could be played out like the national apology to the Indigenous people of Australia. The Prime Minister, the Minister for Defence, the Chief of Army, the commanders, anyone in the high-ups. I think it could be a public apology. That would cost nothing. Nothing. It doesn't cost the government to come out and say, look, we're sorry, what happened? And then there's a personal apology. Those people who have gone to the trouble of making complaints and submissions to DLA Piper, those plausible complaints, it wouldn't cost the sun and the moon, as the Estimates Committee said, to send a letter to them saying, yes, we acknowledge you've got a plausible complaint and we're sorry and we're investigating it. And maybe a Royal Commission, maybe a compensation scheme. I want to press that the compensation scheme is the way to go. Let's give some money to the victims. Let's compensate the victims. Let's not spend money endlessly on more inquiries, more commissions. It's been going on for 60 years, 4 or 5 inquiries. The opportunity is now with this government to act positively and do something positive for the victims.
OK, Brian Briggs, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Michael.